So these are two of the faces we have seen so much of over the last 2 days. The two brothers, Cherif Kouachi and Saïd Kouachi, both French nationals, born to Algerian parents. They were orphaned as children. And as the days, the minutes pass, we learn more and more about them. Let's start with Cherif. He is the youngest, 32 years old. This was him 10 years ago, an aspiring rapper with a record, a criminal one, for selling drugs and for theft. But increasingly, he appears to have become radicalised. He met a man called Farid Benyetou, who he claimed taught him about suicide bombers and martyrdom. Benyetou spent time in jail, convicted of recruiting young men to go and fight abroad. Now, Cherif Kouachi ended up on trial himself after missing a flight to the Middle East. He said he'd never wanted to go, but he couldn't back out and was described in court as a reluctant holy warrior. Nevertheless, he was jailed for 3 years. He served half of that sentence and was arrested again in 2010. Police subsequently learned that he had been browsing jihadist websites, but the case was dropped due to a lack of evidence. It's also claimed he had indirect links to the controversial preachers Abu Qatada and Abu Hamza, both of whom at the time were based in London. OK, let's take a look at his brother. This is Saïd Kouachi. He is the oldest at 34 years old. It was Saïd who unwittingly set the police on their trail by leaving his identity card in the getaway vehicle. Now, what's interesting here is he has been formally named by the police as the main attacker in Wednesday's murders. But the authorities say in the past he was always only ever on the periphery of his younger brother's illegal activities. Other than that, very little has been revealed about him, although it is believed he spent time in Yemen back in 2011. And there, according to intelligence sources, he met the late US-born al-Qaeda preacher Yemen.Al. Now, clearly, the authorities knew who these two men were. Cherif, in particular, had that history with the police. And the US knew about them too. They were on not one, but two highly classified security databases, one of which was a specific no-fly list. Even in France, the authorities had them under surveillance at one point. In fact, this direct quote from the Prime Minister: "Those individuals were undoubtedly followed." The questions now then, two of them. First of all, why was Charlie Hebdo so exposed when it had been under threat? And secondly, why were two men known to be radicals followed and unfollowed when there was clearly a danger? The answers may not be forthcoming immediately, but they are sure to be uncomfortable.